Hey, what's up everybody, and Happy New Year. We just got back from a long road trip. We went out of state for the holidays, and I wanted to talk about something that I experienced on the way there, and it has something to do with my FJ Cruiser's fuel gauge. The FJ Cruiser right now is off, and if I turn it on right now, you'll see that the fuel gauge is working properly. Anyway, so we were taking a long road trip, and before we headed out, I wanted to make sure that the gas tank was full. I woke up early one morning, and the temperature was, I would say it was in the 50s. So I turned on the car. My gas tank was probably a little bit less than a quarter of a tank full. Drove to Costco and filled up the gas tank all the way up. Now I do have a bad habit of topping off whenever the gas pump stops itself. I'll just kind of squeeze a little bit more just to try to get that even number. I don't know if anyone else does that with their gas fill-ups, but this is just something that I like to do. Anyway, so after filling up the tank at Costco, I turned on the ignition and started driving off. And just kept an eye on my fuel gauge and realized that the needle was still down where it was before. And I was a little concerned because I had never experienced this before in the FJ Cruiser, and I wasn't sure if it had anything to do with the temperature at the time, but the gauge wouldn't move. I continued to drive on, knowing that I had a full tank, and it literally took 5 minutes or so before I saw the gauge start moving its way up. Little by little, it would just sort of creep up there, and maybe after 7 or 8 minutes, I'd see it go up to half full, right? And another 2 minutes would go by, and then I'd see it go up again. So after about a full 10 to 12 minutes, the gauge was back to normal working order. It showed a full tank. So I'm not sure if anybody else has experienced this in their FJ Cruiser. If anything, I could always use my odometer to gauge my fuel consumption. I typically get no more than 270 miles highway driving on a full tank. In any case, if the fuel gauge were to have failed, I would have had a good indication of when I needed to fill up. But either way, I'm curious to know, has anyone else experienced this slow fuel gauge? And if so, what kind of factors do you think contributed to that? Do you live in colder environments, snowy environments? Maybe it had something to do with me topping off, even though I do it all the time. So if you have any insight on this, feel free to chime in and let me know. But I haven't experienced that problem ever since. But if anybody else has any insight to add, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. So that's it. I just wanted to share my experience with that. Hope this was helpful for somebody. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next video.